Okay, I'm back, and since this last error message, where we've got some warnings to do with the chapter class, which I haven't taken care of, and then we've got these issues down here where we have multiple definition of debugger display all messages, debugger show message, and debugger counter. So these are multiple display issues, and then we've got this one issue associated with the riddle class, which I haven't taken care of. The only thing I'm hoping to take care of during this compilation is the debugger stuff. So since we last spoke, I converted the debugger header file, which originally was the only file associated with the debugger class and contained all of the implementations. And I didn't have the inline keyword anywhere. It was just basically the class definition and all of the functions implemented. Since then, I have created a implementation file and did all of the definitions in here. I haven't went over it and verified if the code still works. Again, it's been a while since I looked at it. Obviously, there's an issue here. This is never used, so we could comment that out if we want. But I want to see if just by, again, separating the debugger into a header and CPP file, if I can get rid of these couple multiple definition errors. So I'm hoping to get rid of this stuff. We'll still have the warnings up here, and we'll still have this thing reference the riddle class, but we'll see. So I do have to add the debugger CPP file, and we'll compile and see what we get. Now, as always, it's possible that we get just a lot more errors. That is always the thing. You change one thing and the whole system crashes. The waiting game here. So this is where we started this morning, where we had some warnings and we had all this stuff. We got rid of the two riddle class multiple definition issues by separating that into header files. Okay, so we've got something different. So we've got the warning file, the warning stuff still, so that takes care of this, so that I knew would still be there. But we did seem to get rid of this. So we now just have and it also seems like we've got rid of the riddle already asked, but I'm not sure why that is. But now the error is that we have is default argument given for parameter 2 of static void debugger show set message. So we have I gave a default argument obviously for the second parameter, which I'll take a look at. So in set show message, take the second parameter is a type a vector of type int debug IDs, and I've given it a default argument, empty initialization, which would initialize it using the default values. So we'll see. I'm not sure why I gave that. Well, I guess probably to start the ID off with empty. Again, it's been a while since I looked at the code. I do remember doing that. I can't remember what exact issue I was solving, besides the fact that I just wanted to maybe have set show messages start off with 0, all of them set off as false maybe, or this is for the IDEs actually, so we'll take a look. I'm rambling, trying to think as I'm doing this. In the implementation file, set show messages, here it's static, previous specification in static void debug, so previous specification in the implementation file. So anyway, let's look in the implementation file on line 40 and in the header file 86 and 40. Let's header file 40, 86 for implementation file. Let's go take a look. Let's see, 40 for the implementation file. I already forgot. I think it was 80 in the implementation file around here. Yeah, so display message. My memory is so bad. 40 for the header file. So 40 for the header file. So, okay, static. This is the function we're looking at. Set show message. I've taken in I've got a default argument for the second parameter, which is of type vector of type int, passed in by constant reference, and I've set that up. And then it's around 80 here, set show messages in the implementation file right here. Redefinition of default argument. Oh, redefinition, that's why that would be the case. I don't need to include the default argument twice, so that should sort that out. What's going on here? Use range-based for loop instead. This is just a recommendation. I could just, again, I'm just setting every index to, I'm just negating the flag for each, whatever the flag is, I'm changing it, which presumably at the start, so I'm just changing all the flags. So if they're true, they're going to turn to false. False, they're going to turn true, whatever. So I'm whatever I pass in, but presumably this is, when I made this message, I basically wanted a way that I could shut off all of the flags at once, so I could put in, you know, true here, and this would be not true, false. I set everything to false. So I could just use a range-based for loop, you know, something like this. I'll put this here so I think about doing the first. I just don't want to change things right now, but I would iterate through the collection, which is known by debug IDs. Iterate through debug IDs, pulling out an int at a time. I could use that. I don't even have to use int. I could use the auto keyword if I want, just to, you know, let the compiler think, but there's no need to do that. Int, and we could do that if we wanted. I don't know if that's really necessary at this point, but actually I'm just going to delete that. But that's what we can do after. Let's try to recompile it now that we've sorted that one issue out. And then I think that was the only issue, previous. And then we will look at these chapter warnings. In constructor, chapter, in this parameterized constructor, I take in two parameters. String by constant reference and a vector of type excerpt by constant reference. And the warning is in the header file in line 21. The warning is that this will be initialized, so chapter number will be initialized after. So we want to do a reorder, maybe warning reorder. So I'll take a look at that. Also, I've got a vector of excerpt objects, chapter.excerpts. Excerpt objects, warning, when initialized here. Okay, so separating the debug header file, which had all implementation and wasn't really being treated like a header file. I was just using it as a class file. When I've separated it into its implementation file and header file, i.e. a .cpp and .h file, we seem to have got rid of these errors right here, where, you know, we had multiple definition of various things in the debugger class. So that's good. So now we've just got this riddle thing that I'll take care of, and these warnings for chapter. I'll shut off the video here and go look at those and then come back.